Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, tonight, you are listening live to Fair or Foul Week here on Brandon's World, here on this Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. As always, I am Brandon Lewis, the host of Brandon's World, and here with me back again is the man that you guys all loved because this was a fan favorite the last time we did this. We're turning into a fair or foul week. We're going to do half NFL questions, half NBA. Jalen Sandvick, welcome back to the Brandon's World Podcast.
Yo, I'm back. By the time you're seeing this, the podcast that we did were when what 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
It would have been a week ago. So
We I'm coming back with the fire, boys. I got some good stuff for y'all today. I'm gonna make Brandon question his life choices, his life decisions. It's gonna be a great time.
So, of course, Mr. Sandvick was on the podcast last week where we talked all things NFL, all things NBA, all things Major League Baseball, and all things professional wrestling. Go check that out wherever you get your audio and video podcast. As always, Brandon's World is in collaboration with the one and only Voltage Live. We have an announcement coming soon that I cannot wait to share. You can also follow me on all of the social medias. Those are all linked below, as well as Jalen's Instagram. Jalen, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Today's podcast on Tuesday, we're doing NFL. On Thursday, you will hear the NBA. As a reminder, fair or foul is like true or false, but it is obviously deprived of the baseball term whether a ball is fair or foul. So fair means true, foul means false. Jalen, we're kicking things off today. All things NFL. It doesn't matter if it's regular season questions, awards questions, yards questions, whatever you can think of NFL wise. Jalen's going to throw at me, and let's go ahead and get started.
You ready?
Let's do it. First question.
All right, I got a fantasy football question for all you fantasy football heads out there.
I love it. Kicking it off. I love it.
All right. The first QB taken off the board should be Josh Allen.
Ooh. You know what? I'm actually going to say foul to that.
Ooh.
And the reason why I say that is because off the top of my head, obviously Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, potentially a Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson. I think even Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. I think those are guys that are going to have a better season than Josh Allen. I think the Bills are still going to be very good, but I think they're a little bit more run centric. I think Josh Allen runs a little bit less this year. Therefore, I think his fantasy value is down a little bit. I still think he's potentially top 5, but I don't think he ends the year as QB number 1. That's why I say foul.
You just made Bills Mafia so angry right there.
I did, but would you agree with me?
I don't know, Brandon. I don't know. I come up with the questions. You don't question the questioner.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on. Question 2.
Okay. Question 2. Your Philadelphia Eagles, your beloved Birds, will finish with a record above 500.
Oh, absolutely fair. There is no question in my mind. I know that there is some concern about, Super Bowl losers in the past sometimes struggle out of the gate. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why I don't think this is one of those cases. I think the Eagles are a lot like the Bengals of last year that obviously lost to the Rams. This is a team that's still young. This is a team that is hungry. This is not an old team showing signs of decline that was in, the last year of their window. This is a team with a young quarterback, great dynamic weapons, offensive coach, and in the conference they're in. I was asked this the other day when I was on Believe in Media's Brown and Orange Weekly podcast with Carnes Wilson, Dean Samples, that I linked. You can go check that out. I think the only team in the way of the Eagles this year is themselves. I think the 2 and 3 teams outside of them challenging are probably Dallas and San Francisco. We have questions with Dallas about the coach. We have questions in San Francisco about the quarterback. We do not have any questions in Philadelphia regarding a catastrophe. The Philadelphia Eagles will absolutely be above 500. They should be about 11, 12 wins and be the first team since the 2004 Eagles to repeat as the NFC East champions.
Your question should be, will the refs be on my side today? That's the Eagles' biggest. It's themselves and the referees.
Above 500. If you told me go back to the Super Bowl, I'd have to think about it. But above 500, absolutely.
All right, you're gonna think about this one.
Okay.
Just okay. Even though he is an absolute nutcase, yeah, I said it. Antonio Brown can still have a starting job on any NFL team.
Oh, that is such a good question. That is such a good question. I think, unfortunately, it's going to be foul. Antonio Brown is one of the best wide receivers I have ever seen in my lifetime. I'm not saying he's one of the best ever. He's not Jerry Rice. He's not Terrell Owens, etc. But he's one of the best productive wide receivers I've seen in my lifetime. Unfortunately, listen, if Tom Brady was still in the league, which obviously chirped Tom Brady and all of that, I think the final straw was when he did something that we will never ever see again. And that is literally take off his pads, dance around in MetLife Stadium, and quit in the middle of a football game. I think that was the end of Antonio Brown's career. You thought for a while Hollywood Brown, Antonio Brown in Baltimore. Hollywood Brown is now in Arizona. So I think Antonio Brown, who is an absolute nutcase, but he is one of those productive receivers in the NFL. I just think with the amount of talent that comes in every year from college, with the amount of talent we currently have in the wide receiver room in the National Football League, Antonio Brown will never take another snap in an NFL game.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited for that 30 for 30 in 10 years.
Yes.
Dude, call the Uber and put it on Snapchat. What a guy.
Antonio Brown. Yes, let's put it that a 30 for 30 on him. You'll have to see it if you never saw Antonio Brown.
Yeah. All right. I got another former NFL what if for you here.
Okay.
Johnny Football could have been a top 5 quarterback if it was not for the partying, the drinking, and the substance use.
Absolutely foul. Johnny Manziel was never going to be a good NFL quarterback. I dug my heels in when the Browns picked him number 22 overall. I said it was the worst mistake the Browns ever made. I said he was a bust. I didn't care how well he did in college. At the time, there was not the mold of the NFL quarterback to be that small and be in the pocket. I thought Johnny Manziel, was a backup quarterback in the National Football League, even if he was sober and did everything right. Did not see the talent in him. Thought he was going to be a bust as a first-round pick. Reminded me a little bit of Tim Tebow, a right-handed Tebow. Lightning in a bottle, and that's all he really was. And Cleveland was a bad situation for him. I think we can all acknowledge that. But regardless, no, Johnny Manziel was not going to be a good NFL quarterback. That is absolutely, positively false.
I asked you that because I don't know if you saw this, but Netflix is doing a Untold on Johnny Football.
I did not see that.
You if you have Netflix, you might want to sit down and watch it because it looks it looks crazy.
Were you a fan of Johnny?
As a matter of fact, Brandon Lewis, I'm staring at a football gave to me from YC that I happened to meet Gary Barnage, and I gave him my football, and he took it to the facility, and he got one Money Manziel to sign that ball.
Johnny Manziel next to Ryan Leaf, maybe one of the biggest busts in NFL history. There, I said it.
That's fair. He's one of the greatest college quarterbacks I've ever seen, though.
Yes, him, Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Greg
And
Jones.
you putting Tebow in there?
You know, Tebow did win a playoff game. Tebow did win a playoff game.
We're getting off topic. All right. This is for another conversation we can have. I'll talk college football all day, but for this one, this is a record question. This is about my beloved Detroit Lions.
Okay,
my Detroit Lions will win their division and their first playoff game.
Ooh, and their first playoff game.
Yeah.
You know what, Jalen? I'll be optimistic. I'll say fair to that.
Let's go.
Because I think about it, because I was telling Jalen before this show, and I'm sure we'll get to it. I've already done my AFC predictions offline. I've not revealed them. I will reveal them in September. Obviously, I have a month to critique and review, and depending on injuries, adjust and all those things. But I have not finished the NFC yet. But I will say, thinking about the potential wild card teams, I envision the Lions to be the number 3 seed in the NFC. So I would envision Dallas to probably be the 5. So when I look at the wild card team you would face, it'd probably be the Saints, Seattle, Minnesota, or Chicago. And I think you could beat all those teams, especially at home in Detroit in a dome. If you don't win the division, which I know this wasn't a part of the question, but it would be tough to go on the road, I think, and win a playoff game. But I think if Jared Goff gets one playoff game at home against a weaker team, yes, he can absolutely win that game.
I mean, hey man, I'll take it. You gave my Lions praise. I'll take that. All right, you ready for my next one?
Let's do it.
I don't know how much you're gonna like me for this one.
Oh God!
But I think you might have to.
Am I going to kick you off this stream here?
Oh boy, America's team, quote unquote, the Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott will win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
Foul, and I'm not going to be a Devil Eagles fan here. I'm going to give you legitimate criticism / praise for the Dallas Cowboys. You look at the Cowboys roster. Dak Prescott is a B plus quarterback. Tony Pollard, very good running back. CeeDee Lamb, some people put him as the top 10 wide receiver. I would say he's close to that, maybe 11 or 12. Defensively, obviously, Micah Parsons, one or two best defensive players in football. Trayvon Diggs, he gambles a lot, but he gets a lot of interceptions. They have a great defensive line. They have a very good offensive line. I think Dallas needs another receiver or two, but I think the biggest thing holding the team back is one, Dak, because I don't think Dak without a running game can carry you against the best teams in the NFC. And I also think their coach, Mike McCarthy, and I think Jerry Jones is too sort of embellished in being of a cowboy brand rather than firing a coach that literally does nothing. And I think his play calling this year will be worse than Kellen Moore. I think Dallas is going to make the playoffs each of the next 2 years. And like each of the last 20-something years, Dallas will win a playoff game or be eliminated in the first round. And they just go through this vicious cycle. So until they actually get their act together, they hire the right coach, they get more weapons, they get some more pieces on defense. In a weak NFC, Dallas is a very good roster. They're not a Super Bowl roster, and I don't see them improving it as time goes on here in the next 2 years. So that's why I say foul, and I think that's a very fair evaluation.
See, I was gonna send you this post that I saw. Some weather dude and a weather guy in Florida was doing the weather. He's like, today the weather is gonna peak in the 90s, so it's much like the Dallas Cowboys. And I was like, damn, that's pretty true. Like, they kind of suck now. Like,
The Cowboys have not made the NFC Championship game since 1995. That was the year my brother was born. My brother is going to be 28 years old come September.
My dad was 12 when that happened. Maybe I should tell him that. Maybe he'll feel older than he already does. All right. Let's see. I'm going out of order here because some of these are just too good to go in order. All right. We got Aaron Rodgers, aka take mushrooms on a football field and ball out. Some people call him Perk Rodgers, other people call him Psycho, but Aaron Rodgers will win one more ring before he hangs up the cleats.
Ooh, Jalen, Jets fans are going to be mad at me.
Oh, no.
Foul. I say foul. If you heard my 2023 NFL bowl predictions that I thought could out of this world happen, something crazy happens this NFL season. One of them was Aaron Rodgers wins MVP. It could happen. Maybe Garrett Wilson becomes a top 5 wide receiver, or maybe the Jets win 12 games. We all think the Jets are better than we all thought. It could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it very well could. But even if it does happen, the Jets, they're not better than the Bills. They're not better than the Dolphins. They're not better than the Chiefs. They're not better than the Bengals. They're not better than Baltimore, I would say. They're not better than the Chargers, possibly. They're not better than Jacksonville. I just named 7 8 teams I don't think the Jets are better than. And so to me, there's no way, unless Aaron Rodgers goes on a 2010-esque run with the Packers, where they were a wild card team that got hot and they played really good defense and they won some low-scoring playoff games, and Aaron played well and they had a run game. Could it seemingly happen? Sure. I don't see it. And I think Aaron Rodgers, with only one ring, and what would it be? 17 years, 18 years of playing football. Honestly, this is a hot take. Aaron Rodgers, Jalen.
Oh, no.
One of the most
don't say
overrated quarterbacks.
God damn it, he said it.
In the history of football. Aaron Rodgers is Dan Marino with a Super
Bowl. Whoa.
Aaron Rodgers is Dan Marino with a Super Bowl ring. The exact same throwing motion. The exact same playoff success outside of the 1 year Aaron won. Very similar careers. Aaron Rodgers, how many times has he had the number 1 seed and lost? Twice? 3 times? Not a good look. Aaron's a stat guy. He's not a winner. We'll see if he proves himself different this year in New Jersey. But that, to me, is foul.
He's a lot like LeBron James, but that's for NBA fair.
Personality-wise, he's a lot like LeBron James. I agree.
He is.
Next question.
I don't appreciate the attack on my boy Dan Marino. I was raised in a household where Dan Marino is like God. Okay, so leave Dan alone. Dan may be a stat pattern, but he was good. He was really good.
One of the best quarterbacks ever to not win a Super Bowl.
I agree. Okay. Next on the list, after you just made so many Jets fans mad, they're already typing comments on this video. It's not even up yet. They're ready. They're locked and loaded. Next one I have for you is D-Hop, even at his old age, still has top 5 hands in the NFL.
Hands. Yeah, you know what? I'll say fair to that. I think DeAndre Hopkins is still a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I thought that was a savvy move by the Titans. Jay, when we talked about the Titans the last time you were on this podcast, they needed to have a number 1 wide receiver. They absolutely did that. I think he is worth a win or two. Still a special talent. I don't know why he wasn't signed. I heard some reports that, he didn't want to practice in Arizona. Who cares if a receiver doesn't want to practice as good as D-Hop is? Some guys are just not good practice players. Him and Kyler Murray had a special connection. And I said this about D-Hop, and I think you'll agree with me. It didn't matter who the quarterback was. Matt Schaub, Deshaun Watson, Tom Savage, Kyler Murray, Colt McCoy. D-Hop always produced. He will produce with Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, Will Levis, whoever is under center for Tennessee.
You kind of segue into my next question, kind of. With the addition of D-Hop, the Titans will be a better, I guess we could say, I put above 500. I just put a winning record. So with the addition of D-Hop, the Titans will have a winning record.
That is foul. Because of the way the AFC is set up and because of Tennessee's roster, I'm not going to spoil anything for my NFL predictions, but I'll say this. I think Tennessee is not even close to being a legitimate contender in their own division. Even with D-Hop, I say foul.
You are making so many fan bases so mad right now.
You're giving me questions for all the teams I don't like.
The only team you like is the damn Eagles. I can't.
Well, you're giving me all of the bad AFC teams or the average AFC teams.
I did this on purpose. You're going to get so much flack on Twitter. I can't wait.
Just wait till you give me a New England question. I can't wait.
Oh, you want New England? You want New England questions?
If you have one, throw it at me.
Oh boy, that is. We'll get to that later. I'll let that marinate. I'm gonna let that.
Go ahead.
All right. So now we're gonna talk about our hometown team, the hometown boys.
The Browns.
Yeah, that's right. You were on a podcast and you said some things. You said that it's win or bust. It is not Super Bowl. It is. You said we just need a winning record. Is that correct?
That's what I said.
So, if we don't start off the season with at least 4 or 5 wins, Stefanski is sitting in the hot seat.
That's fair because he's already on the hot seat. I mean, when is Stefanski not going to be on the hot seat this year? The Browns go 10-2 their first 12 games. Jalen, you know this. I was banging the table last year. I said, fire Kevin Stefanski. I didn't care about the Watson situation. I said, this offense is outdated. It's from 1980. Why are they running 3 tight end sets, no shotgun? And I said this, and I know I talked about this on Brown and the Orange Weekly as well. I know you heard me say this. Why were the Browns always so good on the first drive? Every game, I swear to God, every game, they'd either score a touchdown or a field goal on the first drive. They couldn't score in the second half. That's not personnel. That's coaching. And so, yes, the Browns need to have a winning record for Kevin Stefanski to at least keep his job. I think Stefanski's on the hot seat already. And the Browns have a very tough schedule early. If you start off the season 1-3 or 2-4, those rumblings are even going to get hotter.
Yeah, I agree. We look so good on the first drive. We look like a legit threat, and then we just
I mean, it felt like the Browns scored on 13 or 14 opening drives last year.
If we got the ball first for kickoff, it was guaranteed we were going down and getting 3.
Or a touchdown. Most of the time it was a touchdown.
Even with Baker Mayfield. This was even with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield would show up and look like Jesus for the first 6 plays, and then he would just disappear. And then we're like, oh yeah, well, it's probably Freddie Kitchens. And then we get Stefanski. It's the same thing.
Speaking of which, you know what it reminds me of?
What?
Green Bay the last couple of years with Rodgers. Remember Matt LaFleur, how good and I said this, LaFleur and Stefanski come from the same tree. They run that same zone, outside zone, PA bootleg type offense where they would run the first drive. Remember how good Green Bay looked last year on the first drive? Aaron looked comfortable. They'd run the ball. They'd go down. They would score. Remember, there were many games they'd be up 10-0 or 14-0. Then they disappear the rest of the game.
Yeah, it'd be a Monday night, right? And or it'd be a Sunday night, and I'd be getting ready for school. I'd just throw on that game like in the background while I'm like doing assignments or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, Roger scored. And then he'd score again. I'd be like, oh, this game's over. And then like they wouldn't move. They would be in a stalemate. Like it feels like they wouldn't touch the ball for the rest of the game because they would just go 3-and-out right after that.
Yep. The same thing the Browns would do.
Yeah, you're completely right. But for my Broncos fans out there, I got this next one's for you.
Oh, let's ride. Good old Russell Wilson.
Broncos country. That's right. With the addition of their new head coach, Hall of Fame head coach, dare I say. That could be another question I can ask. Russell Wilson will not fizzle out after the first 3 games of the season, and the Broncos will make the playoffs.
Oh, the first part was fair. The second part is like, I don't know. It's a fair / foul. I'm going to go ahead and say foul. They're not going to make the playoffs. They will have a good season. I think it's going to take Peyton another year to get the defense right. I think Russ will have a good year. I still think Justin Herbert, no matter what we think of Brandon Staley, who don't even get me started on him. I think the Chargers, with the addition of Kellen Moore, should make the playoffs. I think in this conference, it's just going to be a little bit too tough. Denver, I'm sorry. I think you missed the playoffs by literally a game. I think it comes down to you versus the Chargers, and I think you got to sweep them, and I don't think you can. And I think that will decide who potentially gets that other playoff spot in the AFC West. I think it goes to Herbert this year. I think the Broncos have a good season, along with the Browns. Broncos have a good year, but no playoffs.
I don't know. It really depends on how Russ plays. Like it doesn't depend on.
So I'll tell you, I look at the Broncos and Chargers as literally the exact same team. I really do. But I think it's Herbert over Wilson, and I would take that more over the upgrade of Peyton over Staley and head coach. I think Denver was such a disaster last year. They'll be better, but I think it's going to take another year to get Russ in that hole. By next year, I think Denver is going to be really good. I don't know about this year. I think they'll be good. I don't think they're at that playoff level yet.
I agree with you. I very much agree. Now let's talk about the team you love the most, and that's beloved New England Patriots.
Oh, Jalen, you get every team. I am literally, and I am sorry for the audio people that are going to listen to this work, and I know I usually keep my stuff clean. I am shitting on every single team today outside of my Eagles. It's such a bad one.
You look so biased. It's great.
It's not biased. I think it's reasonable analysis.
Okay. Ready for this one?
Go ahead.
You're going to say fair to this, but you're going to piss off the Patriots. With the loss of Brady and all the star power, the Patriots are the most irrelevant and unexciting team in the NFL this year.
Ooh. Irrelevant? No. That's actually going to be foul.
Damn.
I think New England is actually going to be one of the most talked about teams in all of the NFL this year. They're going to be one of those teams that's going to beat the bad teams. They're going to beat your Washingtons. Any team with a young quarterback. They're going to beat Washington. They're going to beat Indy. Probably going to beat Pittsburgh. I don't know who else. I'm trying to think of who else on their schedule. They'll beat Vegas probably. Trying to think who else is on their schedule that they could face some young quarterbacks. They'll beat the Giants, Daniel Jones. Like those are the teams that they'll beat. They will not beat Jalen Hurts, two of these healthy, Josh Allen. Like you get the gist, right? They'll beat every bad team. They'll lose every good team. The problem's going to be when they're like 6-6, or 5-5 or whatever you want to say, 7-8, whatever, where they're like around 500. And you're looking around and you're easily fourth in your division because the Jets will have about 9-10 wins. Miami will have about 10-11. Bills will have about 10-11. And with Mac Jones having an okay season with no receivers, you're going to be like, dude, this ain't working. We need to fire Bill or at least make Bill go upstairs or get a legit OC that has control or get a new draft. We need something to change. So New England's going to be talked about a lot for that reason. The most irrelevant team, to me at least, by far this year is Arizona. I don't know if that's a question you have, but I'm going to throw it out there now. Arizona, I have this theory. Kyler Murray will not be playing another down for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to say that.
That's not a bad theory to have because right now he's probably, if he's playing anything, he's playing Call of Duty on Twitch.
My guess is Kyler will be ready about week 8. They'll be 1-7 or week 9, 1-8, whatever it will be. They want to tank for Caleb Williams, and they will move off Kyler Murray at the end of the season. I think Arizona is going to be irrelevant. I think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be terrible. I think they're going to be basically what the Jets were when they got Zach Wilson, what the Texans have been for the last couple of years. I think Arizona is going to be bad and irrelevant. No one's going to talk about them. New England's going to be one of those teams that every single week they're going to be talked about because the more they lose, the more that conversation is going to be brought up.
That's right. I'm so excited for football to be back. I can't wait for Stephen A to make fun of the Cowboys. I'm very excited. Anyway, so I don't know if this question is fair to use, but I'm just gonna throw it out there, see what you have to say. Saturday college game day with our boy Pat McAfee is more electric than getting ready for Sundays.
That is foul, and I'm going to disqualify myself for this reason because I can't really answer this question because I never watched college game day.
No way.
I'm not that big of a fan of college football. I think college football is getting better because of the NIL, because we have more teams that are going to be good. We'll see about this new playoff format. But to me, there is nothing better. There is not a product better. There's not a sport better in the world than the National Football League. I really think, because I mean, let's face it, Jalen, in college, what's Ohio State playing, week 2, week 3? Ball State, Akron, Toledo, whoever. I mean, it's cupcakes. I can't take anything away from that. Ohio State has one true test all year. It's Michigan. Alabama has a couple of tests all year. It's LSU. It's Georgia. There are not a lot of hard games on these teams' schedules, which is why, to me, college football doesn't really start until the Associated Press, the AP rankings, kind of go away, and we get the committee rankings, which, by the way, I will always fight to be on the committee because I feel like I'm the only one that understands college football and understands marketing, because I really want to be on the committee because the committee screws up every single year with their rankings. That, to me, is when college football starts up, middle of November. And so, to me, there's no real hype in college football. Maybe week 1 or week 2, they give you a big game. But after that, October is like dry to me for college. That's just my opinion.
I'm telling you, man, there's nothing better than even just live at the shoe, seeing everybody rocking. I love it, man. I love college.
I'm not a college football fan, so I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm a very casual college football fan. Like for years, when Ohio State, we own Michigan, I said, aren't you guys bored? Isn't that tiring? Don't you want Michigan to be good? And look what happened the last 2 years. You guys have been so cocky. Oh, we're going to beat Michigan. We're so much better than Michigan. Now it's a rivalry again. Now the game actually means something. I love it.
We don't you get tired of whooping the Cowboys?
We never whoop the Cowboys.
Exactly. I did that to piss you off.
You know what? I say this every year. Ezekiel Elliott, when he was declining over the last 2 years, the only team he do good against, Philadelphia Eagles.
Because he knew he
Dak
had to.
Prescott. Dak Prescott. Every year, his best 2 games of the year are both against the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's true. Yeah, they look like top 5 quarterbacks. All right. My next question is the Atlanta Falcons. My dark horse. I told you about a week ago. I told
Last
you the
week,
dark horse have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Well, last year they were terrible, so off that I have to go foul. I know they made some additions: Jesse Bates, Calais Campbell. I'm trying to think. Did they add somebody else big? I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so.
I think it's Bates and Campbell were the 2 big additions. You know, Atlanta's a weird team. Defensively speaking, I think they have a couple guys. That's about it. I don't think they're going to be great. I really want to see if Desmond Ritter can play. Bijan Robinson's a stud. Really good wide receiver in Drake London. Really good tight end in Kyle Pitts. I need to see if Desmond Ritter can play. Because if he can play, I agree Atlanta could be a dark horse. If he can't, Atlanta's going to be looking for a quarterback. It doesn't matter how good their defense is going to be. So I think that's foul.
I don't know, man. That's my dark horse right there. All right. Next one on the list. Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields, even though I have beef with the Bears because obviously I'm a Lions fan. But I'll put that aside. He's a former Buckeye, okay? Justin Fields will be an MVP in the next 3 years.
So before I answer this question, I'm going to say something. Because I don't think you even know this, Jalen, because I learned this last week. Because the great Colin Coward said this on his show. They're with Colin Coward, of course, Monday for Friday, 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, FS1. One of the best talk show hosts in the business. Love you, Colin. Love Jason McIntyre. Love the Volume Network. All of that stuff. Do you know, Jalen? I'm going to give you a guess. Justin Fields has only 5 career NFL wins. Did you know that?
Yeah, because the Bears suck.
So we talk about Justin Fields a lot because everybody sees the potential in him. He only has 5 career wins. You got to win games. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a worse team, I would say, around him in a couple of years, and other quarterbacks have had bad teams around them, and they've still found a way to win games. And Justin Fields has not. I'm going to say foul to this. Now, here's the thing. I could be completely wrong about this.
I think you're wrong.
There is a world. I'm going to throw this out there. There is a world where this year, Justin Fields completely pops. The Bears outdo your Lions. The Bears become the Eagles of last year. They win 12, 13 games. They get the number 1 seed. Justin Fields is an MVP candidate. There's a world out there where DJ Moore becomes Justin Fields' A.J. Brown. He becomes his DeAndre Hopkins. He becomes his Stephon Diggs. Of course, I'm referring to Josh Allen popping when Diggs came on the scene the first year. Kyler popping when D-Hop came on the scene the first year. Jalen popping when A.J. Brown came on the scene the first year. There's a world out there. What I think holds the Bears back, and I've said this before, and I know you disagree with me on this, they're coaching. I think Matt Eberflus is the wrong coach for the job. And I think the Bears are still a we need defensive mind culture, and they're not going to let Justin Fields loose the way Philadelphia, Arizona, Buffalo let their quarterbacks loose over the last 3 years. There's going to be a quarterback that pops this year. Justin Fields is another candidate, but I have another candidate as well I'll get to probably later.
See, I think it's Justin Fields. God, I hate the Bears, but God, I love that man, Justin Fields.
By the way, I didn't love Fields coming out of Ohio State. I was one of those people that said I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to be great.
Well, you got to remember, I watch every single Ohio State game, every Saturday. I watched this man throw absolute starts, I know he's going to be special.
So this is my biggest problem with evaluating quarterbacks from top schools, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, whatever. Most of these guys are throwing to wide open receivers. It's one thing I said about C.J. Stroud. It's what I said about, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins when he was the quarterback of Ohio State. I never saw them, and this could include Fields as well, by the way, make one tough, tight window throw. Guys are wide open by 5 yards.
Did you not watch the playoff game? Did you not watch?
I did. I watched the game against Georgia. I was impressed, but I still need to see more.
That man is a grown man. He is a man among boys.
I just don't see it yet. You got to show me on the big stage, the National Football League.
Okay, Brandon, you just made Ohio State.
By the way, I had questions about Joe Burrow when he came out of LSU. I was clearly wrong, but I was one of those people that are like, should the Bengals even draft a quarterback? They have no team. Should they trade the pick and get a team first and then go after a quarterback? Like, no, Joe Burrow just saved the franchise in 1 hour.
Yeah, for real. He really did.
No offensive line. We'll just go get Jamar Chase and everything will be good.
Yeah. Let's let Joe Burrow get absolutely murdered, but it's okay because he'll get that ball out in time and we'll make it to the Super Bowl. That's pretty much what it was.
Pretty much.
For this one, this is a tough question. I feel like you're gonna say fair, but
I haven't said fair a lot, so
the LA Rams have the worst Super Bowl hangover in NFL history.
Yeah. In recent memory, at least, that's pretty fair. It was shocking. I thought the Rams were still going to be pretty good last year. I thought they'd win 8-9 games. There was a team last year, Jalen. I'm going to go back to last year that everybody was on the fence about. Some people thought this team was going to win the Super Bowl, and some people like me thought they were going to stink. And that was the Saints. There's a team this year that some people think are going to be really good, and some people like me think are going to stink. That team is the Rams this year. There's some optimism that Stafford coming back with Cooper Kupp, they're going to be pretty good. I just don't see it. I think their defense is awful. Outside of Aaron Donald, I can't name one person on their defense. I think Stafford's getting older. I don't think they have a great offensive line. I think they have one weapon in Cooper Kupp. I think they're about a 5-win team. And by the way, I'll never forget last year, Baker Mayfield walked off the street in one of the most rigged NFL games I've ever seen in my life and beat the Raiders on that Thursday night game when they called Crosby for that roughing the passer. Do you remember that?
I do. And all the old grandmas who were so against Deshaun Watson, and like my aides at school, all the teachers, of course, no disrespect to teachers. Thank you guys. You guys are great people. You guys do a lot for us. But all the older women, none of like the younger ones, but all the older women who think Deshaun Watson is a pig. Not saying he's not a pig. I don't agree with anything off the field. There's my save right there. I don't agree with any of that. But they were like, "Oh my God, we let Baker Mayfield go," and I was like, "Yeah, he sucks." And then he walked out off a jet and turned into prime Aaron Rodgers for a day. And they were like, "Oh my God,
for 2 minutes."
Yeah, it was literally for 1:59. And they were like, "Oh my God, Jalen, I told you. See, you're gonna regret getting rid of him."
I remember because that was one of my best bets that week. I bet the Raiders. It was like -6, and I think they were up by like 5 or something. And that comeback, that was. I still have no words for that.
I remember if you guys know, me and Brandon take picks every week for the NFL. I remember I took the Raiders because I knew Stafford wasn't gonna play. Like I took the Raiders. I was like, "Oh, this is easy. This is a bag right here. This is because I was only behind by like four. I think I was
Yeah.
behind by like 3 games. It was a close race this year, and I was like, "Oh, this is. I'll just get right back in the race with this one."
And a guy who comes in wearing number 17 off the street, doesn't even know the playbook and wins a football game. It's like you told me, football is not that hard. Why do we have so many bad coaches in this league when a guy like Sean McVay can get a guy walking off the bus and they win a football game?
Can someone explain to me why Baker Mayfield screws me over time after time?
That was the night I said fire Stefanski. I think I went on a huge rant. I don't know if it was to you. I sat there and I said, Sean McVay just did that, and the Browns can't win a game with Deshaun freaking Watson.
Dude, Sean McVay, he must have did some magic or like something, man. Because
McVay is also, and this is probably the most biased that I've been all day. I don't like Sean McVay. I think he thinks he's the smartest person in the room. I think he's cocky. I think he is a know-it-all, and I don't think he's aggressive as he should be, and I don't think he's as good of a head coach. I praise him for that victory, but I don't think he's as good of a head coach as many people say he is. He should be 0-2 in Super Bowls because the Bengals got screwed out of their Super Bowl by that dumb illegal contact call that was not illegal contact.
Give me Stafford all the way, baby. That's
You're
my
a Matthew Stafford guy, and I understand it because you are a Lions fan. I always thought Matthew Stafford was a little bit overrated. But like Nikola Jokic.
Whoa.
Like Nikola Jokic, Matthew Stafford proved me wrong.
That was my next question, actually. Is Matthew Stafford overrated?
You know what? Let's just keep it unfair. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think a lot of people do. So I'll answer it like that.
These
are
really
the quarterbacks on the top of my head I'd take over. I'll just
you
go
really
by division.
hurt my soul today. That hurt my soul.
I'll go by division. Josh Allen, Mahomes, Herbert. I would take Lamar Jackson over him personally. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. So there's 6 right there. Jalen 7. And again, I'm not ranking them in order. I'm just going out divisions. You know what? At this time, this is going to kill you. I'd take Jared Goff over Matthew Stafford.
Oh, you suck.
So that's 8. You know what? I take it back. I guess Stafford would probably be 9. I think he's right there with Deshaun Watson.
That's where he should be.
So you know what? For the first time in the history of Verify, I changed my pick. It's actually foul. I think people were trying to if Brady, because I think he's better than Aaron Rodgers right now. I noticed I didn't put Aaron in the top 10. I would take him over Dak. So,
yeah, I would.
I mean, I think some people were trying to put Stafford in the top 5 a couple years ago. That's where I push back.
Oh, I was talking about him in the top 5, but that was just me being hella biased. That was.
Well, remember when he won the Super Bowl and people said he might be the best quarterback in football next to Mahomes? Do you remember that?
I wasn't one of those people.
I know you weren't, but I'm saying, do you remember the talk around that?
I do. I do remember that. And quite frankly, I was on top of the world that night because my boy Stafford got one. So I didn't.
I actually changed my pick. I think he's about 9 or 10. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's definitely 10. The guy isn't. I mean, I can't really call him not a winner because he's never been put in a position to win until he went to LA. And like it's kind of like Damian Lillard. Like you can't say Dame's not a winner. He was never put in a position to win.
Now the question becomes, because I think him and Tua, if Tua has another year and he's healthy, I think Tua's right there with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one.
I got like 4 or 5 more.
Okay.
Loaded up and ready to go here. Brandon, you're making so many fan bases angry.
I am.
Now we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
with the head coach that looks like Franklin the Turtle. um, let's go with this one because I got multiple questions about Baltimore. Let's go with Lamar Jackson is the most overrated quarterback in his division.
I think that's foul. I really like Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar's a top 7-8 quarterback in football. I already said I would take him over Stafford. It all depends on health. He's right there at 6 or 7 if he's healthy, even. Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens, their whole team is all dependent on health. And it's probably going to relate to your next question. If Baltimore's healthy, they're absolutely a playoff team. They're a 10-11 win team. If they're not healthy, they're a 7-8 win, 6-win team. And Lamar Jackson's value to me always shows when he's not on the field. Baltimore is one of the best watches, objectively in the entire NFL when he's out there. When he's not out there, their offense is unwatchable.
I really want to debate you right now. I really want to turn into Stephen A. Smith and just call you like what you're saying is blasphemy. Brandon, I swear to God, it's blasphemy. That is the worst take I've ever seen on the air.
Former MVP, multiple playoff wins, one of the best organizations in the world.
Can't make it out of the first round. Overrated.
He actually can make it out of the first round.
How many times did he make it out of the first round?
Well, one he got a bye. He was already in the divisional round.
Yeah, he won.
The other time he did beat Tennessee in that wild card game. Who did they lose to that year? Now I can't recall.
Was it
Kansas City? No, it was Buffalo. It was Buffalo.
No, yeah, they got picked apart by Buffalo.
COVID year, it was a low-scoring game. And by the way, the last 2 years he's been hurt, so you can't hold that against him.
No, I'm holding it. I'm holding it against him. I think Lamar Jackson is the most overrated player in the NFL.
Why? Because he gets hurt?
No, because he's not good. He's awful.
Why? Because he beats the Browns every time he steps out of the field?
No, because he's not good.
Jalen. Baltimore, the last 2 years, falling apart because he's gotten hurt. That's the only reason.
He's not good. He's horrible. He doesn't have an arm, really. He doesn't have an arm. He puts himself in harm's way for no reason. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back at best.
You are a hater. That is bias hating.
That's not bias. That's just factual.
Justin Fields a running back then? Because that's all Justin Fields did last year was run.
Justin Fields doesn't have weapons. He didn't have weapons.
Lamar has one weapon, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, that's more weapons than Justin Fields had.
Cole Kmet, I really like as a tight end.
Oh yeah. So would you rather have Mark Andrews or Kmet? Let me know.
Mark Andrews, but it's not particularly that far away. It's closer than people think. I really like Cole Kmet. I think he's a top 7-8 tight end in football. I think Andrews top 3, top 4.
Andrews is 2. Kelsey's 1. Andrews is 2.
No, Andrews is about 4 or 5, actually. I would rank them Kelsey, Kittle, and this is my hot take. This is where my bias comes out. Dallas Goedert.
Okay, stop it. That is
Dallas
so
Goedert
biased.
is a phenomenal tight end that nobody talks about because of all the weapons on the Eagles.
You got me fired up now, Brandon. Just wait till this NBA.
Let's move to the next question.
All right, next question. I don't know if I can trust your word anymore because you're putting Lamar Jackson ahead of, but next question. Before the year 2027, the Browns will have won 1 or more Super Bowls.
I'm sorry, Cleveland. I'm sorry. I have to go with what I see right now, and that's foul. How are you getting past Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Tua, Herbert, Lawrence,
yeah.
Lamar? I'm sorry, Lamar.
Stop it.
That's 7 right there. Better than Deshaun Watson. Prove me wrong.
As of now, as of now, which you can't really say that because we don't give him a full season, and then I guarantee I'll get a text, Jalen. I'm man enough to admit I was wrong.
And that's the one thing I do. I always admit when I'm wrong.
That's our bet for this year. Okay, you know how we have picks every year?
And we make one super bet.
This is our super bet. Live right here on this one's just going up Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If I win this year, I want you to come on here and say Lamar Jackson is overrated.
So what's our bet? That Watson has a better year than Lamar?
Yeah.
So how are we going to determine that?
We'll look at passing yards, obviously. We'll look at games won. We'll look at what else should we look at here? Turnovers. We'll look at completion percentage, and then we'll decide. We'll decide. But I think Watson might have a better year.
Watson will have a better year than Lamar Jackson.
I think so.
I will agree to it with this caveat.
Oh boy.
And it all depends on health for both guys.
It does, yeah.
That's the caveat. Like if Lamar misses 4 or 5 games, the bet's off. Or if Watson misses 4 or 5 games,
that's fair. That's fair. They don't have to play a full season because if
they both don't have to play the same amount of games, but if they miss like more than 3 or 4, let's say
let's do more than 3. Let's do
3.
And if they're questionable going into the game, we'll
it doesn't matter. They have to play. If they're playing, they're in.
Yeah. All right, let's do that.
That is fair.
Okay. You guys just witnessed how me and Brandon make bets. It's gonna be a fun year. All right, I got how many I got? I got 3 more here. And
all right, let's finish this up so we can wrap this segment up and go to the NBA.
One of these has to do with your absolute favorite team in the Dallas Cowboys. I know how much of a Cowgirls fan you are.
We're going back to the Cowgirls. All right.
We are. The Dallas Cowboys, as a franchise, will go down as one of the greatest franchises in NFL history.
You know what? I hate to say it, but I think it's fair. Because I think they have brought so many fan bases to the league because they are Coin America's team. They are a cornerstone franchise, but I hate to admit it. I think there are certain franchises in the NFL that are cornerstone franchises. Obviously, Pittsburgh is one. Dallas is one. I would say now with all the Super Bowls in the recent 20 years, New England is one.
I'd put us there.
I'm going to say San Francisco is one. I think Kansas City is going to be one if they're not already with their run that they're probably going to go on. So that's 5 right there. And you can make an argument because of their perfect season in 1972 for the Dolphins as well.
I'll make an argument for that.
I think the Dolphins, New England, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Dallas, San Francisco. Am I missing one, do you think?
Maybe Cleveland. Back in like the 60s, 70s. The cardiac
because
kids.
Of all the championship runs with Jim Brown, I could certainly listen to that as well.
I would put them there.
I think those are your cornerstone franchises. Those are all your dynasties.
Yeah, because no matter where you go, even though the Browns have sucked for 30-some years ever since we got back from
Green Bay as well. Green Bay.
Yeah, I'd put Green Bay up there. Yeah, with Favre.
Green Bay as well. I almost want to debate Denver in there too.
I want to put Philly in there actually. Because without Philly, Dallas isn't Dallas. And without Dallas, Philly isn't Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd listen because we've always have had good teams, but I would even rank the Browns ahead of them because of their success. I mean, the Eagles have only had one Super Bowl, or one Super Bowl victory. But we have had multiple Super Bowl appearances. We've had 4.
Yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
1960 NFL championship. So yeah, there's an argument. I'd listen.
I might put the Lions there too. Just maybe. Like that's a stretch, but maybe.
It's a stretch.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a
big.
maybe.
It's a, yeah. All right. I got one more for you because I know we got to wrap this up. I got one more.
Okay.
Fair or foul NFL? Are you ready, sir?
I am ready.
Now I know you said you're not doing fantasy football. You might do one league this year,
I'm doing one league. That's it.
but with your first pick, you have to take my guy, my boy, my fighter, my favorite running back in the league right now, Nick Chubb.
False.
Mm.
Jalen, here's a hot take for you. So foul. Here's a hot take for you. I'm not going to spoil anything in case some of my potential league mates are watching this, but I've already said it, so I might want to say it again. If I had the number one pick in our draft, which our order will be determined at random, here's my hot take. This is my biggest hot take of the entire fantasy football season.
Oh boy.
I think rookie running back from your dark horse Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson, will finish as RB1 this year. I think he's absolutely worth the number one pick in fantasy. I think he's going to have one of the best rookie seasons as long as he stays healthy or running back we've ever seen. I think he's going to come in the week like Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Adrian Peterson, name a couple others that just pop immediately. Because Chubb didn't pop off till about year 2. I'm talking year 1, explosive pop. Because I think he's going to get the ball a lot, and I think Atlanta's going to use him a lot.
You got all the casuals now. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to take. They're listening to your picks now. They're like, oh my God, he's right.
I think Chubb is a late first to early second round pick. I think there's better backs than him in fantasy because I don't think he's going to get the ball as much as people think this year. I think the Browns offense is going to be more around Deshaun Watson rather than Nick Chubb.
Sadly, it has to be. It has to be around Watson because if it's not around Watson and like even if Watson doesn't touch the ball a lot, people are going to say, oh, excuse my language, it's a shitty season.
So I think, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, maybe. Then I listen to Chubb. But if you take in, the Tyreek Hill, the Justin Jefferson, I don't think Nick Chubb is the first running back off the board.
No, but I would swap probably Chubb for Kamara. Put Kamara at the end.
That's fair. That's fair. I still think he's about 9-10 pick, which depending on your league could be a first round, maybe early second.
Yeah.
Okay, well that will do it for the NFL edition of this podcast. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.